Strickland travels the country leading programs in prisons for governments and court systems. In Georgia, he partners with several schools to teach courses aimed at helping students make better choices. But Strickland isn't a teacher. In fact, he is a convicted felon who admits to selling drugs across the country, and it started when he was just 13 years of age.
What things look like. When we come out here, we stand in front of our power. When we come out here, we demand justice. When we come out, we take them same laws so that we can't be shot in the streets. So that our family got the same protection as every other family. That's what things look like.
What's up, Ken? How you doing tonight?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Man, I'm great too, brother. Hey, before we even get into the show tonight, I just want to give a word to Chadwick Boseman and his family and to everybody that loved him. And I just want to thank him so much for being the example that he's been for all of us, man. I personally earned a huge level of respect for him after his passing. Like, I had already respected him before. I knew he was like a strong king, and you can't help but to look at the footprint that he made in our society and in our community. But when I learned about his illness, and then I really started researching him and looking at how, even though he was battling himself, man, he just did so much for so many people. He gave hope and inspiration to so many people when he had to be clinging on for hope for himself. And that to me is what it really means to be a king. That to me is what it really means to be a change agent, somebody who's truly walking in their purpose. This man didn't even let cancer stop him from walking in his purpose. He shot movies in between his illness. He took care of his family. He took care of the people around him. And then he still stood up for people who, like kids who were sick in the hospital, people who were going through stuff, people who needed a hero. Man, that's just it. Bro, when I tell you that man has inspired me and touched my heart on so many levels, because it really, really showed me, man, that we don't have no excuse for not being what we need to be. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no excuse at all. If this man could be battling cancer and doing all the things that he did, man, there's no excuse why we can't walk in our purpose. There's no excuse why we can't overcome whatever we got going on, because we know it's bigger than us. So I just want to give a shout out to him and just honor him and honor his family and his loved ones. So before we even started the show, I just had to get that out, King.
No, you good. And while we at it, I'm gonna go ahead and shout out Cliff Robinson and Coach John Thompson. We had some more Kings that lost battles this past weekend. So it's just a tough time. You know what I mean? But continuing to give praise to the Most High and continuing to stay the course and stay focused.
Yep. And those Kings, they open up the door for all of us, because they set them examples, man. I listened to one of the players who, it might have been Allen Allison, who was coached by the gentleman who lost his life, who you were talking about. He was talking about how he was like a father figure to him, and how on every level he gave him the example of what a man looked like, how a man act, how a man carried himself. And I can just imagine for all the people who came up underneath him, bro, that's a huge impact and a huge legacy. Mm-hmm. I want to give a thanks to my homies at Pure Party Buzz also, because I can't wait for us to be able to hit the road with this and be able to take this show out so that people in the streets can get their comments, and so that we can make sure that we get in everybody's voice, because that's what it's really about, is making sure everybody has a voice and making sure that everybody is you know what I'm saying, a part of the conversation. This ain't just me, this ain't just you, this is the Black community. So we got to make sure everybody has a voice in the community. And I also want to let everybody know who we are, because I don't think we really go into detail on who we are to let people know how they can support some of the different things we're doing even off camera. As y'all know, my name is Keith Strickland. I have an organization called Making the Transition. What Making the Transition is, in a very simple overview, is just everything we needed when we were growing up that we didn't have in our communities, that would have kept us out of jail, that would have kept us alive, and that would have kept us really hopeful and optimistic long enough to be able to make something out of ourselves. So what we do is we go into schools, we go into courts, we go into low-income communities, and we make sure the kids have support systems. They have access to resources and to people who can show them how to learn the different things that they may not have been able to learn in their household, so that way they can become strong, able-bodied adults who can, merge back into society and change their whole future. We create programs that partner with schools so that if you in trouble and you about to get put out of school, instead of getting put out, you can go through our programs and you can get a second chance. Same thing in the court system. Instead of going to prison, instead of going to jail, once you've been arrested, you can go through our programs, get a chance to be able to show what you want to do with your life instead of being just another person on a sheet of paper. And we do these programs all across the United States. So I just want to let y'all know a little bit about our background. And the website is makingthetransition.org. I do this because I started selling drugs at about 12 years old. I got my first arrest at 13, got my first felony at 16, and I look at how that changed the whole trajectory of my life. So I just want to make sure that we give the opportunities that we didn't have, because at the end of the day, if you don't make a way for somebody else, what's it all about? It ain't enough to make it out the hood. It ain't enough to change your own life. You got to go back and change lives for people who are just like you, people who are stuck where you used to be at. You want to give a little bit on your background too, Josh? You let people know who you are outside of this?
Josh Powell, retired 18-year professional basketball player. I'm a father, a man of God, and I have a nonprofit. The name of the nonprofit is 21 Reasons to Give, and what we do is we go into communities, find out what they're lacking and provide a need. I've also been blessed to be able to partner with groups like, Promote Positivity Movement, obviously doing work with Keith and Making the Transition, as well as the Next Level Boys Academy. So just continuing to serve, that's my aim, that's my mission. Just want to show love and continue to do what's on my heart and fulfill my purpose.
And I want to give a big shout to this man is a terrific father. And how many children you got right now? Because you just got a new little one who just got added to the team.
Yeah.
What does that make? That make 4? Or is it?
That's 5.
5. Oh, man. But we just talked about this. And I'm sorry to put you on blast. This man called me like 10 minutes before the show. And he's like, hey, man, I'm putting the kids to sleep. I was like, dang, where you going to be a little late? He's like, no, we got this. And that's the difference between just being a dad and being a father. So where this man can do everything he needs to do for his household and still be ready just like that because he's there every day. You know what I'm saying? This ain't something that he just, how can I say? And I don't want to put down any fathers or anybody, but he ain't just paying child support. He ain't just popping in and popping out. He's a consistent father and has been there since day one. So I just want to say to a lot of our men, I've watched, me and bro are cool outside of this. Like, this is my brother. I've watched him go through his ups and downs. I've watched him go through his struggles. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And as long as you keep going, and I don't watch this with so many of my homeboys, as long as you keep going, you can be whatever type of father you want to be. You can break whatever cycles you've had in your life. Like, my daughter passed. I would give anything in the world to be able to be a father to my daughter. I don't care how much I would have to go through. I don't care how many frustrations or how much headache or how much I got to go back and forth to be in her life. I would do anything in the world to have that opportunity. So I'm saying that to say, I watch the kings around me go through it so that they can be there, so that they can be, you know what I'm saying, there every day, so that they can be that person who can change the trajectory of their children's future. So I just want to give a shout to all of them kings, just like bro, who out here making sure their kids have what you may not have had yourself. You might be teaching yourself how to do it. You might not even have an example, but I promise you, man, we all got that one father up here that will give us everything we need so that we can be the father we want to be in the children's life who we got. So again, I ain't mean to put you on blast, bro, but we need to be able to give people their flowers while they can smell them, and we need to be able to just let the men around us know we got your back. You know what I'm saying? You can do this.
Okay.
Oh, much deserved, man, much deserved. But let's go ahead and bring in our guest for tonight. Who all do we have with us? Is Mario on too, or who? All right. So, gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all introduce yourself, even though we did this last week. But I'm gonna let y'all give a little background on who you are, what you do, and just let everybody know, you know, where they can find you at, how they can support you, and then we can get back into this conversation from last week because I know that that's what they really want to hear. Hey, can we also hey Josh, as much as I like looking at you, brother, it seems like the camera is stuck on you. Can we fix that so that the gentleman can so we can see them while they talk also? How y'all doing tonight, King?
What's going on?
There we go. They picked you first, Mario. You want to give a little background on who you are for the people that didn't see you last week?
Sure. My name is Mario Schaff. I'm a retired police officer with the Atlanta Police Department. I own a security company now, and I do celebrity bodyguard work for a lot of celebrities. Some of your favorite celebrities out there now. Excuse me. Basically, I did 13 years with the Atlanta Police Department. I was on the gang task force, the strike team, and so forth. But ultimately, I was also discriminated against by the police department. And I was able to sue the police department and win in the long run because I did it the right way. I'm also a black man. I'm also a father as well.
Hey, you just had a little one too, didn't you?
No, he's on the way.
Oh, congratulations, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I saw the pictures. I didn't know how current they were. Hey, y'all's fraternity pictures are dope. They did these Black Power fraternity pictures, man. You know what? Even if I can't show them now, I gotta show them for next week, bro. Like, y'all went in on that. But you know that baby gonna be born like this right here. You already know.
Yeah, he coming out with the fist up.
Already. All right, Sergeant Sparks, you want to jump in?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Kings. Glad to see y'all again, brother.
Hey, I'm over here with that beard. Got the beard game on point. He coming for you, Josh. He coming for you.
I wish it would go on my head that way, but it won't. But it's all good, though. Hey, man, good evening to all and all who are listening. My name is Ronnie Sparks. I'm currently a sergeant at the College Park Police Department. I'm also the director of security at the Georgia International Convention Center, as well as the Gateway Center Arena, which is home of the College Park Skyhawks and Atlanta Dream. Native Atlantan, as I said last week, educated in the APS system, graduated from Morehouse, also a father, beautiful wife. My thing is, I've been in policing now ever since I've been working until my 18th year now. Not quite 20, but 18. And I've worked in various parts of law enforcement. I started out in corrections, became an administrator in corrections, and then I was part of the prison ministry and graduated up until being with police department at College Park. And I've been heavily involved with the community. Also an ordained licensed minister, and I'm one of the chaplains for the police department as well. So I've been preaching ever since 1999. And it's just, I'm just glad to be a part of an organization like this with Keith. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. And I thank God for bringing you into my life, man, on that last panel discussion that we had a couple of months ago. And this is something I've been telling my wife I've been wanting to do. And in light of unfortunate situations that have happened, it's brought to the forefront my concern, and that we got to be better and do better with our commitment to our community from a law enforcement standpoint, and to be able to be a liaison or a link between the community and the police department and law enforcement, because there is a disconnect, there is a gap, and we got to be able to bridge that, man, because people shouldn't be running around fearing the police.
Hey, so first, I want to thank you for your level of commitment, which is just unbelievable, man. How many different ways you serve the community, you serve people, and you made sure that each and every one of us have somebody out there who's protecting and serving seriously, right? From a spiritual level, from a mental level, from a law and order level. But I got a surprise. I wasn't even going to drop this, but I'm telling you because you know what you just said touched me. I just acquired another property downtown, right by Peter Street and Trinity Street, right? And it's a building. I'm opening it to the public so that it can be a community law enforcement joint task force. So that way it's in one of the last rougher communities that we got here in Atlanta. So we can use it to serve the Pittsburgh community, Mechanicsville community, all the way to the West End. 30318 is one of the places that are dear to my heart. So we can also serve 30318 from that, right? And the goal is to be able to get a community of voice so that people actually know what's going on in the community. and also to be able to let the police have a partnership with the community so that way the community can be served, where it's not just the police superimposing into the community, but you know, working together to make sure the community is safer, so that we can have a place where people can talk with each other. So when police are trying to do something, or when the community needs something, we got a safe place where we can come in and we can discuss. So I'm definitely gonna work with you to make that happen, because I mean, you're a vet at this and you've been doing it the right way. And a lot of times, man, I think younger people in this profession, they just need to be able to look at somebody else who's doing it and who's satisfied with the way that they're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I was also born in Pittsburgh before we moved to
wow.
Bankhead. So I got a connection, Pittsburgh and Bankhead and 30318.
Rawson Street. You know Rawson Street?
Yep.
It's right there on Rawson. So so we gonna set it up right. And you know that's connected to the whole, really that's like the middle of Atlanta. So like I said, we can do Pittsburgh, Mechanicsville, West End. I mean, we really that's a central hub for all of Atlanta. And then it's right there near downtown. So even for the business community, for people who want to mentor, for people who want to volunteer and who want to be connected. So I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I wasn't even gonna bring it up, but what you just said just made me want to share it. But hey, I want to start off with the first video so that we can jump into our first conversation, right? And I think that the first video, because of what we talked about so far, I think a good first video would be the video of the judge convicting a police officer for using extreme force. So if you don't mind, can we share that video? So it's gonna be the video of the police officers who went before a judge after using force on a young man after a traffic stop.
With his hands extended out of his driver's window, he was grabbed out, thrown to the ground, and struck 16 times in the head.
Is there any way for us to make the video bigger, or is it just the smallest size video?
I would have thought this. What crime did I commit? Being a black man in a Cadillac, stopped for a minor traffic offense by a group of racist police officers looking to do a after hearing the defendant and his fellow officers joke about his injuries as they were wiping blood off their uniforms with disinfectant. 2015. Please be quiet in my courtroom. How does this happen?
To Mr. Dent and his family, I am truly sorry.
Hey, if you don't mind, can we pause this? I believe, guys, I believe y'all get the point of where that video is going. And the reason why I want to start the conversation with that is because I wanted us to be able to see how different law enforcement looks when it's a black person or a person of color versus a white person. If you could you play the video number 1 with the white young man? Like, I just want us to be able to have an open conversation with how differently police officers treat different people, so that we can really go back and look at, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, like right now, the gang members in Chicago have said that they're gonna open fire on police officers if they see a police officer with a gun on. 8 different gangs have confirmed that if they see a police officer on duty in the city of Chicago with their weapon on them, that they're gonna open fire, right? And of course, I do not condone that. I'm not supporting that. So, like, these people have families, these people are doing a job. But I want us to see that there really is a war going on, and that if we don't, okay, I want us to, and before I want to finish that statement, because I want to let it be known I do not condone it. But we got to get to a point where we really do see that there's a difference between how black people are treated on the streets and how white people are treated. Can we go ahead and play this video?
Shit!
What is he on? Get up, Charlie! He's trying not to use his gun.
Now, I wanted us to really be able to see clearly how different those two situations were. This one white man actually put his hands on a police officer. He jumped in the police officer's car. He tried to take his gun. He put his life in danger. But you see how he responded to that. He did everything he could to not use his gun. But then we see this black man who's trying to get in his car, and you see him shot in the back. So I just wanted us to be able to continue the conversation we had from last week. And Josh, I know you were saying some of the things like we don't know some of the stuff that goes on outside of what we see in the clips. We don't know what might have been done on the call, and we don't understand the danger that a police officer may feel. But I just want somebody to just be able to explain to me, how is it that we're treated so differently time and time and time again? Like, as a police officer, how do you feel when you see these other police officers laughing and joking while they got this man's blood on them after they beat this man up?
Makes me sick to my stomach, man. It makes me want to toss my badge and just walk away. It makes me sick to my stomach, Keith. I've seen it time and time again on YouTube. I've seen, and like Josh said, Mario said last week, that sometimes we don't know what's already been given through the dispatch, but sometimes it's just too clear and too obvious that there is no threat. There is no deadly threat involved what this victim is showing to the officer. And at the end of the day, you look at it, you don't want to say it, but it's racism. It's race. I think it's fear. I think that I saw an interview 20 years ago about why the white man fears a black man. They fear them physically, they fear them emotionally, and they fear that if we ever get an upper hand, there's going to be retribution, that we're going to get revenge. So they approach us already scared, off of fallacies, really, to be honest with you. So when I see stuff like that, it bothers me to no end, man. It makes me sick, literally sick to my stomach, that we have cops that are like that strictly act different because of the color of the person's skin.
And can you imagine what's going to happen now that we're going to have people in Chicago who saying that they openly would shoot a police officer? Mark, can you imagine being on patrol, brother, and you doing your job, and you one of the guys who want to give a second chance, who want to look out for people, and then you got to worry about somebody shooting you as soon as they see you because of what another person done did?
Seeing videos like the video we just saw make me glad that I left.
Amen.
And I say that because, I was just having this conversation earlier with my wife, and I was saying how the media portrays the black man so horribly that, we're down here on vacation right now. I'm in Naples, Florida, and the neighbors looked at us like they'd never seen black people before.
Mm-mm.
And so if someone has never seen a black person before or been in close interaction with them because of how they grew up and where they live and so forth, all they know of us is what they see of us on the media. So when media portrays us as animals and the media portrays them as this and that, when they first see us, they scared.
Yep.
Some of these officers have never been in a fist fight a day of their life. So when someone punches them in the face to get away, they think they're dying. The first time they see stars, I'm pretty sure all of us have been in street fights. I know I have.
Yeah.
I've been hit pretty hard before. And I saw stars. So the first time they see stars, they think they're dying. We know we just in a fight. We just got hit real hard, real good, and we might about to lose this one. And I think the media has a big role to play in how we're portrayed as men, as people, and so forth. We are portrayed as someone to be feared, someone that if we get the upper hand, we're gonna beat you to death. All we see on the news is Chicago 20-something people done got killed this weekend. This and that. We never see the positive stuff on the news. The news is so negative now.
I didn't mean to cut you off, brother, but I watched this documentary on King Leopold in the Congo, right? Mm-hmm. Where they first came into the Congo. When they came in, King Leopold was the king of Belgium, right? He came in, and when he came into the Congo, they came in with education and with religion. And they ended up finding out there was rubber in the Congo. They took the Congolese men and they made them work in the Congo. They kidnapped the women, they kidnapped the children, and they cut off the right arm of over 100,000 people. And they had photographers take pictures of them, the Belgian soldiers, cutting off one arm of each of these people to force them to work faster. They kidnapped their women and their children. And they told them the only way that they could see them again is if they worked in the fields, right? That was one of the most brutal things I ever saw. I'm a grown man. I've been kidnapped, been tortured, done years, been shot at multiple times, and I cried watching them pictures. Like when they did the documentary, they put the pictures on the screen where they showed them actually chopping off the arms of those people. Man, when you talk about how we're looked at and how brutal we're made to be to seem, sometimes I think we overlook some of the brutality that's been done to us.
Right.
And it's like, we're looked at like you said, if we were able to get the upper hand and be retribution and be out as violence. But what about the violence that's already going on? What about Emmett Till? What about the countless Black people who've been lynched and burned inside of a courtyard in front of a court while people brought their children out and cheered? Because they finally caught that nigga and they hung him and they cut him open and then they burnt him, right? I just think sometimes, like you said, the media portrays us as the person who needs to be feared, the person who needs to be handled, right? And I just look at it. Do you mind playing a news clip video, like you said, about how we're looked at as these animals and these violent people? By how somebody who should have been saw as a threat, how they were looked at. It's a news clip video that shows the actions leading up to the night of the shooting. It shows how it started and goes all the way through. And I really just want us to look at this and continue this conversation, because I want us to get to a point where this isn't I don't want to look at it from a let's bash white people point of view. I want to look at it from a let's see all of us as people, and let's really look at it from a reality standpoint of how do we get out of this stereotype place, and how do we treat each person like a human? Josh, you got anything you want to say so far while we're looking for the video?
Nah, I was just gonna ask my brothers, like, you know, a question that just makes me think of the different types of policing, because it's like, what do they do if they're in a position where either they've been a part of it, like if they were there to actually see and witness it, or if they know of something like that is going on, like what do you do in that position? Because I know there are a lot of officers that are either partnered with somebody who does something out of pocket, or they might hear about something that's been done out of pocket. So I just wanted to get y'all's take on, you know, how you feel about that and what would be the proper steps, because I know that there's like a thing against, you know, police going against, you know, like a code or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I had a situation where when I policed in Zone 4 in Atlanta, over in we had a situation with a bunch of people fighting and a bunch of kids fighting. When we pulled up, we called for backup because there was a lot of people there. There was me and my partner. He was Black as well. A white officer came to help us, and he was worked with us and fine. We never had really interaction with him outside of roll call. Because once you do roll call, everyone goes their separate ways. So a lot of times you don't even know the officers that you work with, because y'all sit in a room, y'all do roll call, and then everybody go to their respective areas or zones or whatever. And so when this officer came, he wind up getting upset and called one of the kids a nigger. Everybody lost it. And when I say everybody, I mean including myself and the other police officer. And we made him leave. The attention turned from the fight and turned to him because even the fight stopped. Like, dude, get out of here now. You don't need to be here. We don't want you here. We don't need your help. Leave. We fought and fought for that officer to be transferred, terminated, suspended, whatever. He wound up quitting about 2 months later.
Hey Mario, if you don't mind me asking, you can jump into this too, Sarge. What would y'all suggest for? What would be your advice for the young men or the young women who were there in the fight who were civilians? Like when something like that happens, when you clearly see that you're being profiled by an officer, or you clearly see that this is going to be a good encounter, what steps would you take? What steps would you tell a civilian to take so that they can go home that night, so that they don't end up getting killed, that they don't end up getting hurt once they clearly see that you're being profiled?
I mean, if it's just the officer and that person, always survive the stop. Always just get out of there as soon as possible, get your ticket, record everything. Record everything from the beginning of the stop to, I always tell people, if you want to get the whole thing so no one can say, well, what happened before this, turn your camera on before the officer even get to the car. That way you can see his hello and his goodbye. You know, a lot of times we always see the middle, but we never see the hello. Get the beginning. Get the very beginning. There's no discrepancy. There's no one can sit there and say, oh, well, what happened before the officer started pulling him out the car? No, let's get it all. Let's get everything. But surviving the stop is always going to be the key. If it's just y'all, get your ticket. If he's taking you to jail, unfortunately, you're going to have to go because you can't win on the traffic stop. You're not going to win when it's just y'all. You're not going to win. And if you do win, you might, in fighting it, you may wind up dead.
Hey, do y'all mind if we do something to make this a little fun?
What's that?
You two, since you're both officers, can y'all role play? Act like you're pulling each other over. One of y'all get the other one the most hard, difficult time possible. And y'all show us how we should act as civilians to get up out of there. Because, I mean, I hear that all the time when people say, just take the ticket, make sure you survive, just go home. But, I mean, we still may not know what that means exactly. We may not know how to actually act that out when that time comes.
Which one you want to be, Mario?
You can pull me over, sir.
Oh, okay. You go put me on blast like that. Oh, okay. All right. So I done lit him up. When I say lit him up, I've gotten behind him and I've turned on my emergency lights and I'm approaching the vehicle. So as I get to his vehicle, I'm gonna go, hey, good evening, sir. How we doing today? My name is Sergeant Sparks, College Park PD. You know why I may have pulled you over today?
No, I do not. But let me interject. Before you got to my car, I've already turned on my interior lights in my vehicle so you can see everything, and I've rolled down every window in the car.
Okay. I appreciate that, sir. What's your name?
Mario.
Okay, Mario. Again, I said I'm Sergeant Sparks. Just wanted to let you know that you kind of went through that stop sign back there. You didn't really stop. You just kind of slowed down, but you didn't really stop. So just want to know where are you in a rush or something? Everything okay? You're in a route? You're en route to somewhere?
No, I thought I stopped.
Okay. All right. So let me get your license and your insurance. Let me go back and I'm gonna run you. Then I'll be back. Everything okay? Okay with that?
Yeah, I got my license. My insurance is on my phone. So
okay.
My license. I don't know.
All right, you give me your license. So pause. At this point, I'm gonna go back. For those who don't know, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna run his license. I've already ran his tag before I even jumped out of the car to see if the car's stolen or anything like that. All right. So I'm going back. I'm running his tag. I'm running his license to see if he's wanted or anything like that. I see that his license is suspended. But that's a pause. Okay. I'm throwing a monkey wrench in that. So I go back to the car. Action. Back in action. So Mr. Mario, Mr. Shaft, very interesting last name. So I just ran your license. Do you know your license was suspended?
No, I did not know. When was my license suspended? My license should be good.
Yeah, it don't really give me a specific reason in the system as to why it's suspended, but you have any outstanding debt, any outstanding child support issues, anything like that? Because I know sometimes that can happen. You know, your license gets suspended if you're behind on your child support, anything like that.
I had a crazy baby mama, but I paid.
Okay. Yeah, well, I understand. So listen, this is what we're gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to get you to step out of the car. Okay. What are you stepping out of the car for?
Yeah.
Well, in the state of Georgia, driving with a suspended license is illegal.
Okay.
Therefore, you know, I'm gonna have to go ahead and we gotta get this squared away, take you down to the station and get it squared away, okay?
So I can't get a ticket and have somebody come get my car.
Now, I tell you what I will do though. I will do this because it says it's been suspended for a while. I will give you some time to get to call somebody so they can come pick your car up because I don't want you to get into this towing situation where, you know, and it could be some administrative paperwork that messed up.
You better take me.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you to jail till we get that squared away. Because you haven't been served according to the system. You haven't been served. So if you haven't been served properly, I need to take you in so that we can go ahead and get you booked in. And then we can go ahead and square away from that.
If I'm not mistaken, though, Sarge, if I don't have a serve and surrender date, then it's impossible for me to know that my license was suspended. So if I don't have a serve and surrender date in the state of Georgia, that I can get a ticket and I can have somebody come drive me home.
That may be true, but from my interpretation of it, I'm supposed to make an arrest. I'm supposed to effectuate an arrest.
You call
I bring you in. I bring you in. Okay. I bring you in, and then we can get it squared away once we get there.
Can you call a supervisor to the same place?
Well, actually, I'm a supervisor. I'm a sergeant. So
Got a lieutenant.
yeah, I got a lieutenant. I can try to see can I get him on the line.
You call him for me, please.
Okay, but I'm telling you right now, I'm asking you, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in the scope of the law. That I do have that ability, that discretion to place you on the arrest.
But if you have discretion, that means you got a choice, right?
I have a choice. That's right. But right now, your license is suspended, so I really don't know what else may be going on. So if I take you down and get your book fingerprinted in, I can see what else may be going on with you.
So, my fault to interrupt, guys.
Yeah.
You would suggest we have this much dialogue back and forth with the police officer? If we feel like it's already kind of hostile, you would think it's okay for us to have this much dialogue?
Well, for me, I'm a people person. And I try to get to the bottom of it the best way I can without going through all of the situations. I kind of threw that in there, and I'm glad Mario picked that up because you do have to be served. They can give you a ticket.
But what I'm saying is if you with a police officer who's already, if it's already friction, you guys would think it's okay for us to be able to have this much dialogue. I mean, I've been hurt by a police officer before, hit with a gun. I've had a gun cocked and put in my face for saying not a tenth of this much. Right. So I'm just
using my demeanor, but
so
there have been times when people have come to the car and they'll be like, I'm sure Mario can agree with this, and be like, yo, get out the car, man. Get out the car. We're not going to even go through all of your license suspended. Get out the car. And so that's when the ish hit the fan. Because now, if you are an educated person like Mario was, and he knows the law, technically he can't be arrested for that. See, that's a lot of times, a lot of things too. And I'm gonna say this: people don't know the law, and the officer may do, but if they don't know it, they may use that ignorance of the law. The officer will do to get an arrest.
But see, this is my thing, guys. The court, to me, is where we fight if we should have got a ticket or if we shouldn't have gotten a ticket. Right. But I just don't want to see somebody get hurt or somebody not make it home because they're trying to have a discussion with an officer who didn't like you before they put you over.
Well, right. The reason I have so much discussion is because I'm bouncing off of that officer's energy.
Right.
If Sarge is coming up with the energy that he's displaying right now on the screen, then it's okay to have that much dialogue. But if someone's coming up hostile, like you said, just get out the car, just get out.
Right.
Because at that point, there's no discussion. Sarge is having a conversation with me. So in that sense, it's okay to have a regular conversation back. His energy is different. He's not coming off as hostile. He's explaining to me what's going on. He's giving me the option to call someone. He's doing these things. So at that point, I'm letting him know, hey, listen, I know the law. And I know you can't lock me up if there's a date on that.
Now, on that point right
This
there,
is what I'm
Mario.
worried about. This is what I'm worried about, guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarge.
Let me interject real key. But when Mario did that, if you're an officer that got an ego issue, that just snapped. He just snapped. Or you want to be smart, or you want to be a smart ass. You know, you want to be a smart ass. Come on, you know. And so that's how it'll go from there to there, just because he's an intelligent brother that knows the law.
Yeah.
So when the egos get questioned or challenged, we just being real here. That's what makes that switch flip.
But that's when you also have to change how you interact with the officer as well.
Exactly.
So
you want to go home.
That's the point I'm trying to make. A lot of the videos that I see, of course, it was wrong for that person to lose their life that day. But if that person had to just stop, if that person had to just let the officer have it, if they had to just submit it, we may not be wearing a shirt, or we may not be holding a sign that got a name on it. You get what I'm saying? So that's more so the part that I want to make sure that we get across for whoever's watching this, whoever's listening, is that officers ain't the only person with egos sometimes. I'm gonna be 100. I'm a man. It's been some times when I done got pulled over and I had an ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, bro. I know I stopped at the stop sign. Like, come on, don't do that. Like, I know I've been that dude before. So I guess I just want to have a kind of conversation where if we get ourselves in a situation where it is an ego, where it is aggressive, where it is some just dislike or some hostility, what would y'all suggest that you do to make it out of that?
So to make it out of that, if all of that is there, when Sarge comes up to the car and he tells me that my license, after I give him my license and he says my license is suspended and so forth, and he asks me to get out the car, just get out the car, go to jail. If he asks you to call somebody, he say you want to call somebody, come get your car. You know, it makes no sense to be that angry that you don't want to call somebody. So call somebody, your girlfriend, your homeboy, your little cousin, somebody come with a license to come get your car and go ahead and go to jail.
Remember the video we just watched? The young man, he had his hands out the window. And they still hit him 18 times. They still busted his head wide open. He had his hands out the window. He was submitting in every way. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when they came to the car and they snatched him out, he was like this. He didn't, there was no hostility. There was no resistance.
Right.
I'm gonna say this, Keith, and just to piggyback on what Josh said last week. You want to go home. Take the ticket, take the little whatever going on, and yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. And that's not being a coward. That's not being less than a man. You're trying to go home because we can fight for it. You can live to fight another day. Okay? Now, also, when we get to that point where that officer came to me, and I'm just speaking strictly for Ronnie, that officer had some issues when he got to that car. You just go there and the guy got his hands out the car and then you snatch him out and then you just start pummeling him. To me, that's something else is going on there. Something else is going on there. No matter even if dispatch gave them some information, but the guy got his hands out and you got him outside of the car and y'all on top of him. What are we doing here? Mm-hmm. And so I've been in a situation like that where I had to say, hey, man, get up. We got him. I got him. And just like Mario said, people have come to my call and they've made it worse. I'll be like, I got it. Stand back. If I need you, stand back because I got it. What you're doing, you're inciting the situation. And I got it. I got it under control. So we do have to do that and we come into contact with that. But that guy in that particular instance, man, that's the situation. I'm like, that's too much. That's overkill. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. Simply too much.
Yeah. So, Josh, you've been quiet tonight, brother. What's on your mind? And I want to hear from you. You always got great insight. So I want to make sure that, we hearing your voice tonight.
I'm just processing. I think that, Keith, to your point, I think that we just have to share with some of the young men or young women in our community, regardless of anything. Sometimes you might take a L. Ain't no way, no other way to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? You could be a person that's respectful. You could do everything the right way. And because of, you know, the officer who's, you know, obviously showing up or has pulled you over, I mean, you just don't know. And that's the unfortunate part about it. That's the realization of what we're talking about as well, because we can give, you know, proper instruction. You know, we have two law enforcement guys that are on this call.
Mm-hmm.
Respectful men, you know what I mean, that have seen a lot at their jobs, and they're giving their point of, you know, they're giving us a perspective from their point of view as people who wear the badge, and then obviously how they feel without the badge. And I just think that there are some instances where we can do everything. So we, you know, we're just trying to give people the best chances of going. I guess that's the better way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it could be an instance where you're dealing with somebody that's already an agenda or already got on their mind, and they're gonna handle it however they see fit.
Yeah, it's one more video, guys. I'm trying so hard on this one because I feel like this really puts a lot of stuff into perspective, what I'm trying to say here. So, and Josh, I hear everything you're saying, brother. Like, all we can do is try to make it home. All we can do is try to make sure that we protect ourselves against whatever we come up against. But I just want to make sure that we do get that sometimes it's not going to be a fault of the person. Sometimes that person did everything they could when the officer walked up to their car to try to be as unintimidating as possible, but it's just not on it sometimes. So I think that we really got to give some thought to what do we do to prepare our young people so when they walk out that door, no matter what's going on, no matter what they face, they can be prepared to make it home. Because I know it's easy to say that, but it's not always the easiest thing to actually do it. Do you get what I'm saying about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's hard when someone you and they do everything else impossible to demeanor you and to talk down to you just because of what you look like. It's hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I told my son he couldn't grow dreads just for the fear of how he would be looked at.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, you know, when my daughter passed, right? That was bringing a child into this world because I didn't grow up really close to my family. That was like most exciting time period of my life. When my daughter passed, I told myself I don't think I want to have any more children because if I can't guarantee that I'm gonna bring another young lady into this world, I can't see bringing another black male who's born into this skin, born into this shell, into this world when I know that we're hunted. You get what I'm saying? I know what it is. I know how we're treated. I know how we're looked at, and I don't want to do that to anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Just because I want to love somebody, just because, you know, I want somebody of my own, that's just really tough, man. And we shouldn't have to think like that. We shouldn't have to live like that. What we got to think about the punishment that we putting our children through just by bringing them into the world. Yeah. Like nobody has the right to put us into that space. I was looking at stuff like the Monica video over the weekend, the Monica challenge with Brandy and Monica. And I was thinking how they had 1 million people on that Versus challenge. They broke the record. And they talked about the importance of voting, but they didn't talk about the importance of keeping each other alive, right? And I feel like a lot of people, even who look like us, don't understand the war that's going on outside. They don't understand the level of risk it is being a black male or a black young lady, even though, I don't mean to put down the dangers that our young ladies face, but it's black men who are being killed at the highest rates out here, right?
I think
if we don't really see the need to every single time we can open our mouth and keep fighting until nobody else's life is in danger or until nobody else is living in fear, because it could be them at any time when they walk out their door. You know how many people right now are living in certain communities that don't want to go outside, don't want to go to the store, don't want to go to the park, definitely don't want to walk their children somewhere because you don't know if it could be you. And I had a discussion with a young lady earlier today. And she said, well, how much are we supposed to talk about it? How much do we need to keep going? Imagine if this was still slavery times and you had free black slaves in one place, right? Imagine how many times those free black slaves didn't want to open their mouth because they didn't feel like bringing it up. They didn't feel like being unpopular around the other people who were free.
Right.
If that was us, we would want them to open their mouth every time, no matter how many times we talked about it, no matter how many times that it's been pushed. Until everybody has freedom, open your mouth. So until everybody has safety, until everybody has justice, until everybody has a quality of life where you are excited about bringing a child into this world, you open your mouth every time. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's real.
And I feel like if we can't fight for each other with that much passion, how can we expect anybody else to?
We don't care enough. That's the thing. We as people, like, we don't get passionate until it hits us at home.
Yep.
That's a big part of our problem. Like, you know, I've dealt with some things personally, and I always thought it was interesting how passionate people get once it knocks on their door.
Yeah.
We got to get away from that because, you know, as much as we love in our community, just as easy as we can be just as selfish. And I think that that's something that needs to be said because it's always, it ain't me. Just like if we see something happening on the streets or whatever, we gonna turn a blind because it's like that ain't my problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that a lot of times we got to understand ways that we can step up or different ways that we can speak out. You know, we just got to figure out what it looks like, and we got to hold each other and ourselves accountable. Like as men, we got to stand up. You know, we got to stop allowing our, you know, women to be disrespected. We got to stop allowing kids to get away and do the things that they're doing. Well, that ain't my child. No, but that child might know your child. You never know.
Hey, Josh, can I try something?
You got to speak up and say, hey.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I want you guys to hear this, though. I can't play this video, but I want y'all to hear this.
And a narrative begins to emerge.
Can y'all hear this well?
Not only was Rittenhouse not arrested last night, at the beginning of the evening, authorities thanked he and his so-called Citizens Brigade that showed up here in Kenosha. And at the end of the night, he was able to walk right out of the Kenosha Hudson. We appreciate you guys, we really do. Before there were bullets in the air, in this pocket of Kenosha at least, there were attaboys for the so-called Citizens Brigade. With that, the crew, some armed with long guns, we don't have non-lethal. So you guys are full on ready to defend the property? Yes, we are. They don't have badges, but seem to have tacit approval from the same sheriff's officials telling others, you are a civilian, you're in a closed room, you're trespassing, please. 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, part of the brigade last night, wore a white hat, green shirt, blue gloves, carrying with him a long gun and, it appears, permission. Listen to what appears to be a hasty confession. As witnesses try and keep him alive,
right here in his head,
Kyle starts down the street and is noticed. He's taken to the ground, then fires his weapon at attackers. Another person appears shot by his long gun. This time, police attend to the injured. Kyle keeps walking, inching toward authorities at the end of the block as onlookers flag him to police.
Hey, he just shot them! Hey, dude right here just shot them! Dude right here just shot all of them down there!
With blue-gloved hands in the air, the gun around his chest, the brigade member thanked at the start of the night is given safe passage past police, not stopped and cuffed.
So the reason why I wanted to share that and the reason why I went through that much to be able to share that is because I want us to really get to this part in the conversation. How in the world do we send our children out the house? How in the world do we tell our children anything when you got children who are white that can kill somebody in front of law enforcement and law enforcement can help them get away with it? they can help them get. I'm at a loss for words right now. Like, I'm so emotional. Like, we're over here trying to train our people on how to make sure they make it home. When this young man who was 17 years old shouldn't have been able to have a loaded weapon, was able to kill people in a crowd with police assistance to get out.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, what do we do? And if we have a society that's willing to help one group of people even when they're guilty and is willing to kill another group of people when they're innocent, what do we do? Where do we go from there, guys? And I know that that's a hard conversation with 4 minutes left. Yeah. Whoever, I don't even, I'm at a loss for words. So whoever has something you want to say on that.
I mean, I'm lost. I'm lost, Keith. I mean, and you try to look at it objectively and say, man, is it really about race? Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's really about race. You really try to take that variable out. But when you look at that, along with other YouTube videos and other clips, either the whole situation or not, it comes down, if that was a black person, would they have been able to walk like that? If that had been a black person, would they would have been able to raise their hands and walk past them and say, I just shot somebody? No. I don't care. The president didn't come out. The president had the audacity to say that he was defending himself. That's crazy.
I'll tell you,
he got an AR-15. An AR-15. That's a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah. They should. Well, I don't know about that, Sarge, but
okay. Depending on who got it. That's my personal opinion.
They should have been sent home from the beginning. That whole y'all here y'all don't need to be here. Y'all not trained to be here. Y'all just people with guns. This ain't your property. Go home. And it's because property loss and life loss is totally different. It don't mean the same. It don't stand on the same playing field. It's not even in no way, shape, form, or fashion.
And this is my ignorance. But Mario, I got a question. If I see somebody breaking in my car outside, they outside breaking in my car, I'm inside my house. If I shoot at them from outside because I'm protecting my property, that's murder, right?
Yes. Yes. Your life is not in danger. Your car is in danger.
Yeah. So he came all the way from Illinois to come and protect somebody else's property and then made it all the way back to Illinois after doing so.
He came to kill somebody. He came to shoot somebody.
That intent.
All of them came to kill somebody. All of them came. This is not your property, dude. What are you even here for? If the store owner ain't outside with his own property, protecting his property, why the fuck are you, why are you here to protect his property? It ain't yours. You don't even shop here, dude.
You shop here. It's crazy.
Guys, we got 2 minutes. I just want to say one thing real quick before we head off. To anybody watching, black, blue, white, green, whoever you are, please make it home if you were stopped by a police officer. If you did nothing wrong, make it home. If you did something wrong, take the charge, make it home another day. Whatever you do, make it home. Yeah, it's unfair. Yeah, we're looked at different. Make it home. Whatever you got to do, make it home. Josh just sent me a video of a guy who was walking down the street and shot and killed. I got another video of somebody going inside of a gas station, shot and killed. If you got to lay down right there on the ground where you're at, even if you did nothing wrong, make it home. Do whatever you got to do to make it home. You're listening to law enforcement officers right now telling you they don't exactly how to answer on how to make it home. Make it home. Stop whatever you're doing. Lay down on the ground. Do whatever they tell you to do, no matter how demeaning it is, no matter what it is. You got authorities to take that to later. Make it home. And for every black person out here, understand, other black people are terrified. They're afraid. They're scared. They're going through a lot of stuff. Care about somebody else. Make sure somebody else is just mentally okay. People, this is heavy. This is a lot on all of us. We got to be there for each other.
Yeah.
If y'all got anything y'all want to close with, please do.
Be safe, everybody. Just be safe. Be safe and be smart. Think. You have people, family depending on you. Be safe. Go home and live to fight another day.
Yeah. It's sad, man. It's a sad world we living in right now. Just even for us to even have to get together and talk about how do you get home if dealing with the police when the police are supposed to protect you? This is a sad day.
But it's a reality. So sad as it may be, we gotta make it through this.
How we get home.
Like we fight in our state capitol, in our courthouses, we fight at City Hall, we fight in places where we can change laws. We don't fight in places where your life is at jeopardy.
Right.
And to be able to watch those protesters be shot and killed when I've led over 30 protests, that could have been me at any time, man. So that hit real hard to watch what happened to them. So believe me when I'm saying this from my heart. Make it home.
Yeah.
Make it home. Use your voice in every way you can so that we can win this fight and so that our kids don't have to live through this stuff. But as of today, as of whatever day you're out there, make it home. Like don't let that be a place where your ego ends your life. Don't let it be a place where you stand up for your rights that you do have. That's not the time for it. Just make it home. We need you. Got anything you want to say, Josh, before we close out, brother?
No, man. Love to all. Appreciate you, fellas.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Y'all be blessed.